Another method for solving multi-objective problems is to convert one objective to a constraint and optimize the other objective, but that approach of course applies to problems with two objectives only. Luckily, the example we're considering has only two objectives, so we can apply this method to this problem. So the question is, of course, which objective should become a constraint and which one should remain optimized. The difference, you are free to choose whichever one, but in this case, I'm going to choose points to become a constraint because if you look at scenic points, they are all integer. So whatever path I will obtain, it will have integer number of scenic points, and because of this, it's easy for me to choose a good target, right? I can always adjust the minimum scenic points I need to be some integer number, and this is going to be the easiest for me to manage to try and get as many efficient solutions as possible. So what I will do is convert right, objective max, right, f2 of x to a constraint. I will call it f2 of x, and now because I want it maximized, the appropriate constraint is to say at least some target 2, right? I'm going to say to choose a target for objective number 2, right? But I will want to achieve at least that target. So for example, if I say, maximum scenic points is 35, I could say, I want minimum 20 scenic points. Give me 20 or more, right? Less I don't want because I'm maximizing. I want higher values are fine, lower values are not, right? So I will have a constraint that I need to add to the model, f2 of x greater than or equal t2, and then optimize the remaining objective, right, which is right, f1 of x, right, the original objective number 1. So you see, again, what am I going to do? If I want to write a model, complete model, what would I have to write, right? I should write everything that is here except this, right? Remove this and write this as a constraint, right? Instead of this objective, instead of maximizing it, I will say, give me at least this value or higher for scenic points, and then minimize the travel time under this constraint, okay? So that would be the model, right? This whole model with the second function removed, replaced by a constraint, okay? Now, if we want to implement this in Excel, what do we do? We need to add a target, but remember, a target needs to be just defined for the second objective, right? So I will put target here for objective 2, and we can define whatever value we want, right? So let's say I'm going to put some value 15, which I believe was the lowest right, scenic points that we had. And then what I will do is I will go to the solver, right? I can actually maybe change this like this and say greater than or equal, right? I want this value 35 or whatever the function calculates here to be greater than or equal target 15. Okay, let's put this like this. And so what do? I go to the solver and I change. First of all, I set the objective to be hours and minimized, but then I add a new constraint, and the new constraint is total points greater than or equal to 15. Okay. By the way, you could do this for more than 2 objectives. If you had 3 objectives, you could put 2 of them as constraints, and the third one would be optimized. But the more objectives you turn into constraints, the harder it is for you to decide what the targets should be, how to balance, and there is a lot of search by adjusting the targets to different values. And actually, it's not certain that all these objectives will be optimized correctly for more than 2 objectives. Okay. Now let's see if I solve this problem, what happens. So when I solve it, okay, in this case, of course, I obtained the solution that was, right, because I set the target to be very small, right? Remember, 15 points, even if I minimize hours and ignore scenic points, I am obtaining 15 points. So I obtained the solution that I had before, nothing changed, right? What if I increase, right? If I said, listen, 15 scenic points is not enough, I would like a little bit more. Can you give me 16, right? So here, target 16. I change the target now. The parameter for the user to express preferences is not weights, it's target, just the target for the second objective. So we ask the solver, can you give me 16 scenic points, right? And I know it's integer, so the next, right, higher than 15 would be 16. I go to the solver and click solve, and solver found the solution. It's optimal, constraint satisfied, but I noticed something strange happened here. I somehow obtained fractional solutions, right? This is not a solution that is a single path. It's like 1/3 of me is driving this way, but 2/3 is driving a different way, okay? This is not a correct solution. This actually gives me exactly 16 scenic points and 11.6 hours, right? But this is not a correct solution. You cannot split the driving car, right, on two paths and collect partially these hours and these points, okay? This is not a feasible solution. What happened here? Well, what happened here is that we changed the problem. Remember, in the original problem, we had just network flow constraints, but in the new version of the problem, we have a constraint, scenic points at least, right, greater or equal to target, which is not a network flow constraint, okay? So this is a detail for this particular application. We just created a problem which is no longer a pure network, okay, network flow. Because of this, if we want variables to give us binary values, now we need to add a constraint. Flows must be binary, and this will apply to some other models, okay? Now this is necessary because this is no longer a pure network flow, and because of this, the fractional solutions could be returned as optimal solutions, right? There are corner points that are fractional, and we should go to options and make sure integer optimality tolerance is 0, which is here, right? And now click solve, and let's see what solution we obtain. Okay, solver found the solution, it's optimal, and let's see, we now got 18, all right, 11.8 and 18. The solution is this point. We actually obtained this before with the weighted sum approach, so there's nothing new. We can actually decode it again. 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 10, and 11. This solution, right, we can again trace it here. 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 10, 11. This is a solution that slightly deviates from the shortest, right? Well, now that we obtained, but you see, we put the target 16, but we already obtained 18 points. There is no point for me to enter the target 17 because I'm going to obtain the same solution. 18 still satisfies it. So what do I do next? Well, I have to increase the target above 18. So the next integer value, since all scenic points are integer, I will put, give me at least 19 scenic points. And let's solve this once again. So go to the solver and solve. Remember, I don't need to change anything because the constraint now takes the target that I changed. So I resolve. Solver found again a solution. And now notice I obtain a solution that I didn't have before. Okay, now this solution has 22 scenic points and 12.6 travel time hours. Let's decode it. It's 1 to 3 to 6 to 8, 10, and 11, right? 1 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 11. Again, let's draw it on the chart. 1, 3, 6, 8, 10, and 11. This is another path, right? It's relatively short. It's still quite close, right? It's just 1.1 hours more than the shortest, but it gives us 22 scenic points. So another solution that makes a trade-off, right? Improves the scenic points, sacrificing a little bit of the travel time. Okay, we have another solution. So again, we obtained 22 scenic points. Let's see if we can get 23 scenic points. Again, go solver, solve. Okay, solver found the solution. We actually have exactly 23 scenic points. So the solution is now, right, 1, 3, 5, 9, and 11, right? And the numbers are 13 and 23. So it is 1, 3, 5, 9, and 11, right? It's the path that is the most to the north. Okay, another solution, and I want you to see this is another point, right? And again, it's an efficient point. Notice we worsened the hours, it's longer time, but we improved the scenic points a little bit, right? From 22 to 23, okay? All of these solutions are reasonable choices for a decision maker, okay? One decision maker might prefer much more the short travel time. Another decision maker might be all about scenic points, and there could be any type of balance for some other decision makers. Okay, let's continue. So I'll try 24. Okay, solver, solve. I found a solution with 29 scenic points. Another point, by the way, this point we had before, right? This solution is 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 10, and 11. We had this solution before in the weighted sum approach, okay? And again, we can trace it 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 10, and 11. Okay, this is the solution on the graph. If we continue with this approach, right, if I now say 29 is already there, so I want at least 30 scenic points. Let's see if I solve again. Solver found the solution, 32 scenic points. Okay, another solution, it is 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, 11. Okay, 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, and 11, right? And again, this solution is this new point here. This is the point, right? Okay, so 32, the next one would be, give me at least 33 scenic points. Let's go to the solver, click solve. And I want you to see now we obtained the solution that was actually the one with maximum number of scenic points, 35, right? So this is not a new solution anymore. We actually reached this, right, extreme solution with the highest scenic points and the longest, the worst travel time, right? So I want you to see now we were able to find much more, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in total 7 efficient solutions. And actually these are all efficient solutions, okay? These are, remember, this is just utopia, right? Utopia point, so it's not a solution, right? Just a target to which we aim. Somehow we weren't using this as a target, right? But now I want you to see the efficient frontier. Why weren't we able to find this solution, for example, before with the weighted sum? The problem with the weighted sum is that you're creating somehow level curves, okay? And so if you put a lot of weight for travel time, the level curves, will be something like this, okay? And when you're optimizing, you will choose this point, okay? If you put a lot of weight for the travel time. As you change the weight, you're changing the slope, okay? So if you change the slope to this, you might get this solution, right? But as you change the slope, you can actually never reach this or this solution because these solutions are kind of hidden behind those, the straight line connecting those two, okay? So that's why we weren't able to identify those solutions with the weighted sum, okay? But they are actually efficient. They are just not nice trade-offs because, right, we are giving up a lot of time to improve perhaps the scenic points just a little bit, right? So, but still these are efficient solutions. So this is actually the shortcoming of the weighted sum approach. It is unable to find this or this or this solution, right? The same thing here, it's hidden by the straight line, okay, slightly hidden. So it's almost there, right? You cannot choose weights that will give you this solution or this solution, but the second approach, converting one function to a constraint, is actually able to find these solutions, right? So this is the second method. As I said, it's easiest to apply it when you have two objectives. You could, in principle, apply it to more than two objectives, but then you have to have for all except one, put them into constraints, and then the difficulty is how do you adjust those targets, right? For multiple, with a single objective turned into constraint, you can just go through different values of targets and get a very nice range of efficient solutions. But for let's say 5 objectives, you would have to adjust 4 targets, and the optimization is much harder. Okay, choosing something satisfactory is much harder for the user.